What isn't awesome for the game is what happened between the Ducks and the Coyotes. Now,
Skill isn't awesome, Tougie.
Oh,
bad. God. Skill bad.
Here we go. We're going to break this up into a couple of different parts. We'll talk about the incident itself, those involved, and then we'll talk about the commentary. First and foremost, Trevor Zegras scored another Michigan to make it a 3-0 game in favor of the Ducks. That is important because that is essentially what kind of kicked this off in a sense. But Trevor Zegras, another Michigan. As Sid mentioned, he is beyond a positive for the game. The creativity, granted, you could say the Michigan might not be the most creative thing in the world anymore, but it's still insane. Like, just because we're seeing it more frequently doesn't mean that, like, it's not that big of a deal anymore. It's still insanity. It is. Especially to be pulling it off at a pro level. Another incredible goal, even if it was against the Coyotes. Then, we get the three people involved in this incident. Trevor Zegras, Troy Terry, and Jay Beagle. The score is now 5-0 Anaheim, with about 5.5 minutes to go in the third period. The puck ends up on goal, and Trevor Zegras, who was already at the top of the crease, swipes for the puck. Against the code, against the written rule, maybe, but at the same time, you knock in that puck, that's a goal at 6-0. You play to win the game. What's more insulting to a group of professional hockey players? Knowing that your opponents are literally taking their foot off the gas or giving up a sixth goal. Maybe try harder. Maybe be better. Maybe don't be such a piss baby.
You hit the fucking nail on the head. That was my thing, and I can't help but kind of chuckle at the fact that the same people who are constantly saying all the younger generations are offended by everything are the same people feeling like they have to defend the egos of these professional athletes, defend their fucking feelings and their delicate sensibilities. Like, no. Anytime a big hit is laid and people are like, oh, wait a sec, that's at, maybe a rough time of the game. It's those same fucking people who are like, you play whistle to whistle. What about right now? Loose fucking puck. Play whistle to whistle, right? Oh, no, we have different rules now, apparently. Fuck off.
Jay Beagle, as mentioned, a gigantic piss baby, then cross-checks Trevor Zegras in the numbers. Well, Trevor Zegras deserved it for poking the goalie. You could have just fucking grabbed him by the shoulder pads and said, hey, cut the shit.
Maybe he would have,
but no.
The NHL cracked down on cross-checking like they said they would.
That's another part of this, thank you. It's not just these three players. It's not just Tyson Nash. It's the officiating. Everything that we've talked about over the past year, it all rolls up into one gigantic ball here. This incident would not have happened if the second Jay Beagle cross-checks him in the numbers, the refs around Jay Beagle go to the fucking box. Do your job. That's your job. He cross-checks somebody. It's fucking illegal. Officiate the game. I digress. After the cross-check, Cam Fowler from the Ducks comes in. Kind of gets in Jay Beagle's face. He pushes him away. And then Troy Terry comes in. They lock up. Beagle gets his gloves off. Terry does not. And Jay Beagle beats the brakes off of Troy Terry. That's the only way to put it. He gets flattened. He literally ends up face down on the fucking ice. And I think we've all seen the pictures of Troy Terry's face after this incident. Look, I can understand the viewpoint of Beagle being like, well, people are coming after me and I got to defend myself. I can understand that. At the same time, the guy's gloves were never off. And what the hell were the referees doing? One guy has his gloves off, the other doesn't, and you don't step in. Beagle, after flattening Troy Terry, then tries going after other members of the Ducks. Full red mist. This guy has lost all control of himself. And then the refs try to get involved. But no, you didn't do so. You didn't do so while Terry was getting fed. And even while you're grabbing Jay Beagle, you don't have control of the situation because he's still swiping at guys that are tangled up with other members of the Coyotes. Someone had a hold of Jamie Drysdale, and Jay Beagle's trying to punch Jamie Drysdale in the back of the head. What a tough guy going after the 19-year-old rookie, Jamie Drysdale. Complete piss baby behavior from somebody in Jay Beagle who is barely holding on in this league. Beyond nonsense like this and face-off wins, he provides absolutely nothing. Oh, but the veteran leadership. Yet he's not on a playoff team. And the Canucks were desperate to get rid of his boat anchor contract. Boy, maybe veteran leadership and grit doesn't mean that much. This is a complete failure of the league for, again, not having the better standard of officiating in place. It is a complete failure of these officials on the ice. And it's a complete failure on Jay Beagle's part to not look like a mad, salty piss baby. It's the perfect way. I'd make it the title if I could get it past the filter.
Yeah, it was, pretty fucking gross. Like, I think you hit all the nails on the head. Like, you can't really go into his mind, but, like, as an athlete who's played the sport, I've been in blowouts before, and you can lose your cool real fucking quick. But every time, like, I did lose my cool once. The goalie didn't like that I got too close to him one time. Took a swipe at me. I swiped at him back. 2 people get in my face. I face wash one. I'm immediately tossed from the game. Like, good. I should have been because I was fucking losing control. And yeah, that's how you like manage the game. This is fucking high school. It's crazy. So it's like, yeah, he's clearly pissed about, getting beat. He's clearly pissed about his career coming to an end. He's pissed about his situation where he's at. I mean, again, he's a depth option on a shit team, in my opinion. So you are bottom of the barrel. Yeah, it's crazy to me how, like you said, the officials, the way they handled that was just so rough. And like 2019, I think we talked about this maybe a bit in the last episode when we were talking about a sucker punch. It was 2019 when the NHL said we're going to crack down on these fights that happen when the other person is not a willing combatant. Didn't really look like Terry was a willing combatant, and everyone's like, oh, you can't go into a scrum and not expect to get, like, God. That's what you do in scrums. You find a person, you try to tie them up. That's what happens.
Louis Eriksson was literally he was bear hugging Trevor Zegras to stop Trevor Zegras from going in. Like, literally, he had it.
Yeah.
It was freaking belly to back. Like, Louis Eriksson was going to German suplex him. Just being like, no, you're fucking staying here. Stop it. Like, that is what you do in a scrum. It's not automatically, oh, well, if you were in the moment and you had someone coming at you, you'd fucking defend yourself. But it's like, again, it's not just a failure.
It stops becoming defend himself, like, pretty quickly. Like, he was clear, like, Terry was clearly getting the worst of it. Beagle didn't stop. His gloves weren't off. Beagle didn't stop. Like, yeah.
So in this, Jay Beagle gets a fighting major and aggressor game misconduct, and Troy Terry gets nothing. Because of this, though, no further supplementary discipline was handed out. The NHL views it as the right call was made at the time. Fighting major and an aggressor misconduct with, again, about 5.5 minutes to go.
I always thought fighting majors, you had to have someone else receiving a fighting major as well. Yeah.
You would think.
just saying.
God. So Craig Morgan ended up asking Jay Beagle, and again, Craig Morgan, Coyotes and Arizona State University coverage for Phoenix Sports. Asked Jay Beagle if Jay should have backed off when Terry appeared vulnerable.
Yes, Nash that, right? Like on the
broadcast. yes, excuse me. He did ask Tyson Nash that, and Nash responded, no, not at all. There was an interview with Jay Beagle as well, where he essentially defended his actions and justified everything that he did, because of course he did. As we've noticed, it's kind of a theme of doubling, if not tripling down on your takes when it comes to this. Which brings us to Tyson Nash, former NHLer, color commentator for the Coyotes with Bally Sports.
Professional ditch digger, man. Like, he's just digging himself the biggest hole as he tries to, like go back on his words, but doubles down at the same time. Like, holy
He
crap.
tripled down today.
Oh, God. I haven't... obviously, I'm not on Twitter much, so I haven't seen it yet.
While all of this is going on, Tyson Nash is on commentary saying, now this is after Troy Terry gets flattened, that's the problem with these young players. You want to embarrass guys, you want to skill it up, you better be prepared to get punched in the mouth.
Man is living
Is this
vicariously.
1962 or 2022?
I can't help but feel like he was like living vicariously through Jay Beagle in that moment, and that is a little bit disturbing. But
Jay Beagle
par
is
for the
6
course.
times the hockey player Tyson Nash ever was, though. That's the sad part.
That is the sad part. I remember Tyson Nash. I hated him because he was one of those tough guys who you'd injure your
Tough guys.
injure your players. Yeah, he was just injure your players.
Jeff Merrick had this quote on Twitter. Now, look, in response to that initial comment, obviously we all know how fucking ridiculous that is. You want to embarrass guys and skill it up? You want to be good at hockey? You should get punched in the mouth. We all know how fucking absurd that is and just how poor Tyson Nash comes off here. My God. Like, the fact that someone is in this position as a professional commentator with takes like this, it's incredible and really goes to show where the sport of hockey is right now in terms of evolution or lack thereof. Now, Nash said this. Nash says he shouldn't have said skill it up, but rather hot dogging. He also didn't like the way the Ducks players smiled and smirked after scoring, and when you do that, what followed is what you have to be prepared for. Nash says,
Don't have fun. I like it.
No fun.
This is a good message.
Fuck you.
Good message for the kids out there.
are you happy that you scored? You should get punched in the fucking mouth. How disrespectful that is to your opponent. Fuck you. Are we joking here? Are we joking? Like, this is my problem with the NHL. And so many people tie this in to arguments about analytics and like, oh, well, why are people, oh, those analytics say this guy sucks. Why is this guy useful? Analytics say Jay Beagle sucks. Oh, but he's still on an NHL team. Why is he on an NHL team? Oh, because of leadership and great. No, he's on an NHL team because dinosaurs like him and dinosaurs like Tyson Nash still have a fucking place in the NHL when they should not. George Parros still has a position with the Department of Player Safety when he should not. Because this league is trying its damnedest to sabotage its own growth, its own success, and its own evolution by holding on to old-ass fucking ideals like this and letting people like Tyson Nash hang around the sport in a prominent role. It's all fucking tied together. And it's fucking sad.
Yeah, look at
The idea. You don't like getting scored on, Tyson. Maybe fucking play better defense. Tell Jay to play better fucking defense. Like, I get being motivated after your team gets scored on, but to get this fucking salty to the point where you're justifying what was essentially an assault. I grew up a fucking Bruins fan. Don't sit there and be like, oh, you're just a fucking pussy. I grew up a Bruins fan, fucking big bad hockey, fucking Mike Milbury going into the stands, beating people up with their own fucking shoes, the fucking typical Boston attitude, everything that you fucking hate about Jack Edwards when he commentates the Bruins' big hits or fights or some shit like that. I grew up with that shit. Don't try to pull the, oh, Tougie, you're just a pussy card. The end of the fucking day, this shit is nonsense. This is not tied in to the physical side of the game that we want to preserve. This is horseshit.
Yeah. If you want to have a physical part of the game, there's plenty of players out there that are should belong in this league and bring a physical game. Look at the Kachucks. Look at fucking Mo Sider,
Matthew
by the
Tkachuk
way.
was going to be my example.
Yeah.
Look at what that motherfucker does with between the legs goals. He is what the league should be. That is the evolution of the physical game, but also a skill player at the same time. Andrei Svechnikov, he's in that category as well.
Yeah. Like, it's... If you are having to try your darndest to stop a natural evolution of something, you are not on the right side of it. Period. Like, you're you're completely, and it's because these guys feel like they're going to be fucking left behind. And you know what? You are. I'm sorry. That sometimes happens. And the crazy thing is, these are the guys, Jay Beagle, Tyson Nash, these are the guys, for the most part, who get those analytic jobs. Analyst jobs. Yes. Look at all, like, the sports casts. Look at how many skill guys versus how many more plugs are involved in, like, analyst desks, commentary. It's kind of nuts how many of these, like, former kind of tough guys are in those sort of roles. And
you know why? Because they're desperate to maintain that they had a proper place in the game. You don't need the skill guys
like, I'm not
on the analyst desks. Yeah. Exactly. You know what? The skill guys already got their money because they were better than you, Tyson. And at the same time, their legacy is intact. Everyone knows how fucking good they were. Instead, someone like Tyson Nash is desperate to be able to explain to people why his career isn't a fucking joke. How he was more important than just being a guy that was out there who could have been any number of other dudes next in line for the guys to step up that's out there to be an agitator, out there to injure the other star players. That is all that he was. So he and guys like him are desperate to let you know how important people like them were, even though they were completely fucking irrelevant. Tell me I'm wrong, anybody. I dare you, because you can't. You cannot. Oh, Tougie always thinks he's right. I know I'm fucking right on this one. Because otherwise, you are standing with and defending Tyson Nash. You go right ahead. You go right ahead and be on that side of the argument. It'll age poorly. Tyson Nash, again. This was today. Arizona analyst Tyson Nash on Beagle incident and backlash he received. Quote, if people want to be mad, why is Zegras out on the ice? Why is he poking the goalie?
Probably because he's a good player.
He's out on the ice, Tyson, because he's a good fucking player. He's not a fucking plug like you. Jesus Christ. Why is he poking the goalie? He wants to score goals, Tyson. That's the point of hockey, is to fucking score goals, you dumb motherfucker. Holy shit. The most notable thing about your career is that you grew the nastiest fucking soul patch that the NHL has ever fucking seen because you thought it looked good. The fuck's the matter with you? You scored 24 goals and 27 goals in 374 games, and you're wondering why one of the best young players is out there trying to score more goals? Maybe he has incentive bonuses to get more goals and to get more points, to get more money, you dumb fuck. That's what playing hockey is for. The love of the game and the fucking money, you fucking mark. It's like, go listen to Kevin Nash talk about wrestling. I fucking love entertaining in-ring performances. At the end of the day, you're putting your body through that much hell. It better be about the fucking money. It better be about securing your future and your family's future. But instead, you're in a commentary booth getting this worked up because a 21-year-old kid wanted to score another goal. Get fucked. You are a scrub. You always were a scrub. End of story. For a tough guy, quote, tough guy, who likes to pretend that he was an effective NHL tough guy, you sure are soft as baby shit, Tyson Nash. Get fucked and please get out of the sport of hockey. You are dragging the entire thing behind you and people like you. This is the reason why the NHL is where it is. It could be so much bigger and so much better, but fucking dinosaurs like you who are insecure about their non-existent legacy, you are holding everybody else back.
Yep. And it's the same sort of stuff that we see in other dying sports or sports that are not where they could be, such as baseball. It's like, whenever you have an unwritten code that no one is ever fucking clear on, or things that prevent cool things from happening, like, you know what I love in baseball? Bat flips. I love people celebrating. I love people having fun. You know what I love in hockey? Creative goals. I like people having fun. I like, those are the things that will promote the game. Look at if you remember, if we go rewind a little bit to that Zegras goal and how we bitched out Torts for essentially the same sort of thing Tyson Nash is saying, that was one of the most watched clips of when he did the Michigan, threw it over the net for Milano, who then tapped it in. And it had so many basketball fans getting involved. We're like, whoa, is that like an alley-oop in hockey? What the fuck? I've never seen that. That is an opportunity. That should be telling you. Instead, the people in charge and the Tyson Nashes of the world get fucking terrified because they realize that it's leaving them behind. It doesn't fit in with what their idea of hockey is, and they're so absolutely drunk on the idea that they have this power because they're involved in the game or they're at the head of the league that they think they can prevent this from happening. You're not gonna. Hockey is going to go where it is because you know what? The young players coming up don't give a fuck what you think. They're going to play the way they're going to play, and they're going to lead this game in the future. Zegras is one of those guys. We have many others coming up, and there's just going to be more. That makes me feel a little bit better about all this. Whenever I see a stupid dinosaur have a take like this, I'm just like, it doesn't matter. They're not long for the world of hockey.
What's better for the league? The multi-million views on Zegras, Michigan, or 2.3 million views on Troy Terry getting flattened by a nobody?
Definitely the Zegras.
Or 1.1 million views on the video of Trevor Zegras saying that Jay Beagle rightfully should be punished. What's better for the league? Yeah. I'll leave that up to the individual to decide, and there is clearly a right answer here. At the same time, this has spurned on another conversation. This comes from Teemu Solani. Don't like how these young Duck stars get pushed around. We need a couple of Ty Domies here now. Joke is over. I respectfully disagree with Teemu Solani. And you could sit there and say you're a nobody in a computer chair. He's one of the greatest players of all time. And you would be correct. But at the same time, it is about the evolution of the game. And the answer to this problem is not to bring back goons and to bring back enforcers and to bring back essentially contracted hitmen like Tyson Nash who are only out there to essentially attempt to legally hurt the other team's stars. That is not the answer. In my opinion, there is no such thing as an enforcer being a deterrent. It's a farce. It's a fallacy. It never existed. The idea of, oh, well, you didn't try to cheap shot Wayne Gretzky because then Marty McSorley would get you. Yeah, no, people would still try to target Wayne Gretzky. What the fuck are you talking about? Brad Marchand is the perfect example in the modern game. Let's flash back, and I put out a tweet about this. Let's flash back to 2012. One of Brad Marchand's more infamous moments, I would say, and one of his dirtiest plays. It was the Sammy Salo low bridge, where they were along the half wall. Marchand ducked down, literally, essentially low bridged him at the knee as Sammy Salo went flying and got hurt on the play. In that game, there were numerous people for the Vancouver Canucks that could have served as a deterrent for what happened. There were. Dale Weiss was on that Canucks team, and I'm trying to find the full list of people that I named off here. Obviously, I had numerous conversations in regards to what happened. Dale Weiss was on that team. Andrew Alberts was on that team. There were numerous rough, tough, physical players. Oh, here's the list. Max LaPierre, Dan Hamhuis, Alex Burrows, Kevin Bieksa, Keith Ballard, Christ. All of whom have numerous fights and incidents in their career. Did that stop Brad Marchand from doing what he did? No, because there is, oh, well, if it was Ryan Reeves, he definitely wouldn't have done it. No, because at the end of the day, like I said, oh, you wouldn't go after Gretzky because you have to deal with McSorley. No, if Brad Marchand played in the 80s and Brad Marchand hit Wayne Gretzky, would Brad Marchand then have to fight Marty McSorley?
No.
No.
Their tough guy
would
not
have to fight
Marty McSorley.
The Bruins' tough guy would fight Marty McSorley. Oh, well, that tough guy would have kept Brad Marchand in check. Bullshit. Bullshit. That tough guy can't fucking tell Brad Marchand what to do. Fuck you. You're a goon. You're only here to defend our stars. And if you don't want to be here, next guy up. There's a guy in Providence who will step up and do exactly that. Get bent. Get bent. Your job is to fucking fight for the code, and that's it. There is no such thing as goons as a deterrent. That is, in my opinion, one of the biggest fallacies in the history of the NHL.
Yeah.
I don't believe that ever exists.
I will admit that I used to think it existed. And there's a documentary called Ice Guardians that really kind of solidified that came out years ago.
I've watched it too.
Great documentary. But
yes.
It also, the points that they make, now that I think back on it, kind of coincide with what we were talking about, the evolution of the game, where we see more injuries now from hits, but then they also make the point of equipment has come such a long way that hits are more deadly in that way. And they're saying it's, and yes, it coincides with the downfall of the enforcer, but again, as is, you could say in so many ways, correlation does not equal causation. And we can't, there's no possible way you can say for sure that an enforcer being out there would deter stuff, because think about some of the crazy agitators throughout the years. A Matthew Barnaby, Ken Linsman, all these guys who were considered rats who did fucking worse shit than we see now, spear people, and they rarely had to fight. I think Barnaby fought because he liked it. He's a wild dude, but yeah, it's
like the idea of, what was it, 2 years ago now? Or even last year, the Tom Wilson Rangers incident. Oh, well, that wouldn't happen now that the Rangers have Ryan Reeves. We're going to go out and get Ryan Reeves. That isn't the deterrent. That isn't how to properly manage things, because it's not on the teams to properly manage. It's on the fucking officials to properly manage this shit. It is, in large part, their fault for this incident with Jay Beagle happening. Because they didn't fucking step in when they should have. Because, again, we refuse to evolve past this. And I know on another podcast that I still listen to from time to time, Agent Provocateur, part of the SDPN network, they had on Alan Walsh's podcast Ken Dryden, who has consistently over the years talked about just head contact. Shouldn't be a thing at all. You can agree or disagree with that, but at the end of the day, that is likely the next step in the evolution of the game of hockey, is, again, trying to cut back more on these incidents. The problem is, it's on the officials to make the right goddamn calls at the time.
Yeah.
So, for me, like I said, I disagree with Teemu Selanne on that, and the way I see it, and you've already made the comparison I was going to make, hockey's on the wrong path. I see this as being closer to baseball than basketball. You look at baseball, and still, in a lot of respects, it's, don't flip the bat when you hit a home run. We don't like that. It's restricting and trying to suppress the personalities and the stars of the game. Meanwhile, while baseball and hockey are going down that path and suffering as a result, yes, I know the NHL still got this big new deal with ESPN. They get a lot of money from Sportsnet. They could be bigger. That is the idea. It's the old fucking adage. I'll make the wrestling comparison again. Once upon a time, Vince McMahon, it's like, it's a millionaire who should be a billionaire. It's like you sit there, it's like, look at the success I have versus the success that you could have, which, depending on the circumstances, can be a positive. Oh shit, I was 400 pounds, now I'm 300. Yeah, you could be 200. Yeah, but it's a good thing that you're 300 instead of 400. But in this instance, the NHL is like, we're here. You should be up there. You should be in that competition, because you could be. You have one of the best products on earth and one of the best sports on earth that you continue to squander. I don't understand, and never will, the idea of fuck your personality, respect the code, always be respectful, how dare you smile after a goal. And then again, the NBA continues to thrive and gain in popularity behind the personalities and the skills of their stars. I don't know where the league goes from here until people like Tyson Nash are fucking gone. I don't know where we go until we get the idea out of our collective heads that enforcers stop this stuff from happening. If hockey was hockey and you called penalties when people I was going to say infract, it's not even a word. When people say, for example, interfere, hook, slash Connor McDavid. How about you just call those a penalty and then let Connor McDavid do his thing because he's the best player in the world?
Yeah.
Instead, no, we're still trying to find this middle ground where piss babies like Jay Beagle still have a place in the league. And it's holding the entire league back.